Hello and welcome to Miss Charlotte Astrology. My name is Charlotte. I'm a full-time working astrologer, and on this channel I analyze the astrological charts of public figures, and very often they are celebrities, and they normally come in the form of actors, artists, musicians, politicians, royals, and sometimes even a serial killer here and there. But today I will be analyzing the Synastry chart of a father and a daughter. They were not famous up until a very tragic instant. They were wealthy. I think they were pretty well known in their town, but they were not internationally famous up until a very tragic night where this sweet little innocent girl, JonBenét Ramsey, was slaughtered. She was assaulted and she was found dead in her parents' basement with all sorts of paraphernalia around her. Like, it's gross. I don't need to rehash it, but it's very suspicious. It's very suspicious that there was no sign of a traumatic home invasion. There was a really weird letter written that was suspiciously had it was on Patsy, her mother's notebook, like notepad, and her handwriting. Like, it looked like her handwriting. Like, it's just weird. Very, very strange. So yeah, the parents look suspicious. So what I wanted to do was have a look at her synastry with her father, because I saw an Australian 60 Minutes interview with him. It was done like a year ago, I think. Go watch the Australia 60 Minutes interview with JonBenét Ramsey. It's riveting. He seems so sincere, but suspiciously, it's like he has, like, I just looked at him. I'm like, you don't have feelings. It's just weird. Anyway, I looked at his chart and I was like, this man, he's got... I said to my friend, who is another astrologer, I was on the phone to her today, I'm like, oh my God, he's like got the Ted Bundy sun and the Jeffrey Dahmer moon. Like, he's got not a stitch of water, not a stitch of water in his fucking chart. I'm like, and this man was a businessman, so he's a brutal person, very competitive. Anyway, I wanted to have a look at his synastry with his daughter and figure out what the fuck went on. Is he responsible? Anyway, before I dive in, I just want you guys to know that I have readings in January. As I speak right now, I do have some slots open. There are bookings every day that are coming in, so they're filling up quite quickly. If you would like to meet me over the Zoom room, we can do that, and we can just tear up your chart together the way I do here. If you don't want to do that, I also have 15-minute recorded readings that are just sent to your email. I can do full chart readings, transit readings, solar returns, synastries, and then I got 5-minute focus readings, which are on a specific part of your chart to give you insight on something specific in your life, in your chart. And if you can't do any of that, please like, subscribe, and follow. Help me with the algorithm. Oh, and I do have a YouTube members, and if you are a YouTube member, you do get a very generous discount on readings. So yeah, jump on that. All right, let's dive in, shall we? Let's talk about the Ramseys. Okay, so JonBenét, little girl, the daughter, she is in the inner ring. Her planets are blue, and she's the inner ring. So she is a Gemini, early degree Gemini rising. You can see her Mars is in Taurus here in the 12th house. She's got a Sun in Leo and a Venus in Cancer, a Mercury in Virgo. And if we move up here, you'll see, she has a north node and a moon in Aquarius. So her sun's on her south node, her moon's on her north node. She's not only a full moon baby, she's an eclipse baby. So think Kate Middleton energy, like a sacrificed person, like someone who's kind of sacrificed. We'll talk about it. I did a reading on JonBenét, so if you haven't seen it, go watch it. But she is a sacrificed child. Now, her father, he is, you can see here, he's a Sagittarius sun and Mercury. He's got the Aries moon, the Dharma moon, the Ted Bundy sun and the Dharma moon. And then he has a Venus in Libra on her vertex. We'll get to that. And he's got this a Mars in Gemini in a retrograde in a conjunction with Uranus. Saturn's also here on the midheaven. The man is a killer, like ruthless with his work. And JonBenet's ascendant is sitting right there as well. So maybe she was tied up in his business arrangements. Something to think about. All right, let's move down. Secret family rituals. Some shit went down. So it's really interesting to observe that JonBenét was born on her father's nodal return, on an eclipse. So her sun sits on all of these malefics in her 12th house. Like literally, like she's sending him to hell. Like this is the transit. This little girl sent him to hell. Now the North Node with Pluto is not a walk in the park. And this all plays into the 12th house, and the 12th house is like secrets and enemies, and it's heaven, and it's debaucherous, but it's also hell, and it can be a very spiritual house. But if you're going to connect with God, if you're going to know God, you can know God through pleasurable things and fun things. You can know God through drugs, but you can also know God through loss and sacrifice, you know. Now, the fact that her sun is sitting in this 12th house and it's like lighting up his North Node, his Pluto, his Lilith, his Jupiter. There was some secret shit going on. Literally, I think that this transit, there's some taboo stuff going on here. There's some either secret desires or secret rituals, or it's 12th house stuff, and it's not wholesome. It's not like wholesome spiritual stuff. It's dark spiritual stuff. Lilith is here. Lilith is the dark abused feminine, and I always tell you guys, Lilith in a straight man's chart represents the kind of feminine energy, a woman who he would like to conquer and destroy. Conquer either like sexually, it could be otherwise, but it is conquer and destroy. It's also desire. Conquer, destroy, but also desire. But it's also the kind of woman, it's also the kind of feminine energy that could destroy him. And that's exactly what went on here. You know, since her death, he has obviously has not been the same. He's been probably living in purgatory, living in limbo. Like he's in his 80s now, and if he was responsible for her death, he's been living in his own man-made hell. But yeah, her sun lit up that path for that North Node, and she sent him to hell. And yeah, as she should, because I'm sorry, but I'm going to put my personal opinion in here. When you dress your daughter up and you parade her around like that, making her vulnerable to sickos, yeah, it's your fault. It's your fucking fault. So, I don't like this energy. I don't like this synastry. Some weird shit went on. She tickled something for him. Something that is hidden from the everyday world, for sure. Like something that he would not be very proud of. Thought occurred to me that maybe she was used as leverage against him. Maybe because it's the 12th house. Whatever he was doing with her could be used against him. Like, I am wondering that. Dark dealings with people. Dark deal, not just with his daughter, with other people. Jupiter is abundance as well. Abundance at what costs? What gets you this abundance? Lilith things, exploitation things, potentially. Anyway. There's also this Chiron-Mercury conjunction on the ascendant. He's got Chiron on the ascendant, so he's really concerned with how he appears. It's a bit of a... I don't want to say it's a vain placement. It can play out that way very early on in life, like someone who needs to keep up appearances. I've got to look really good. Now, if you've got Chiron on the ascendant, I don't want to say that you're a vain narcissist or anything, but when you're young, if you've got Chiron on the ascendant, you are just really concerned with what people think of you, how they perceive you, because the ascendant, the first house, is not just, it's, well, the ascendant is how you look, but it's also how people perceive you upon first glance. And if you got Chiron in the first house, you can seem like a really sympathetic person, but at the same time, you can be very concerned with other people's perceptions of you. Her Mercury sits on there, so I'm wondering if her being, very active in like the beauty contests and, being, I don't know, like she was a dancer, so she was a little athletic. It made him look good. Maybe she's kind of like a handbag. There's also like here's the thing. I think there was, like in some weird way, like a loving connection here as well. Because Mercury on the ascendant, that person's going to be able to read your mind. The Mercury person's going to be able to read your mind. They're going to know what you're thinking. So she's very connected to her father that way. When someone's Mercury sits on your Chiron as well, they're going to draw attention to your wounds through communication, through words. It can be quite painful. But generally, like that can be a really nice synastry. It can be quite a nice conjunction because they're going to help you deal with those wounds and help you heal. But it can also just be a very painful relationship as well. Her Mercury plays into the 5th house, which is very performative. That's her tap dancing, and like that's her on stage and wearing different, wigs and makeup and that kind of stuff. I think he enjoyed that. I think, she was a bit of an accessory. Yeah. A cataclysmic event. Guys, we need to talk about this. We need to talk about this Venus. Okay, so there are lots of, there's also discussion about what a vertex is. It's a calculated point and it represents a few things. It's like it's called the second descendant. So, your descendant indicates a partnership, peaceful partnerships, but also open enemies, like people that are kind of fated to be your partners in life, or even your open enemies. So vertex as a second descendant can indicate like a soulmate, a lover, that kind of thing. But it can also indicate, I read, a cataclysmic event, someone that comes into your life and causes trouble. Or it could be trouble. It could also just be like falling in love and it's like really crazy. Like it's crazy. It's a very intense situation or event when this person comes into your life. So his Venus sits in an exact conjunction with her vertex. And his Venus is in Libra. A Venus loves to make a deal. What does that mean? What does that mean? What cataclysmic event happened as a result of him being in his daughter's life? I'm just wondering. It sits in her 6th house of every day, like preparation, things like that as well. Like combing your hair, brushing your teeth, practicing your dance steps for a recital or a beauty contest. His Venus sits there. Just something to note. And I talked about this in my previous reading of her chart reading with the Lilith and the part of fortune in a conjunction with the descendant. So there's like a connection between associates, partnerships, fortune, and that could literally be money or some kind of abundance, with Lilith things, which is the destructive, exploited feminine. And also his sun is in the same sign as her Lilith. They both have this Lilith sun. Both of them have each other's Liliths on each other's suns. They're both very destructive to each other. So was he part of this? I'm wondering, because if his sun sits in this energy, he's going to perpetuate it. There's going to be a lot of abundance that comes from JonBenet's association with her father, but there could also be a lot of exploitation, tragedy. Like there's a lot going on here. He's also, interestingly, a 4th house sun. He's a very private person. Anyway, it's just, this is weird. This is a weird synastry right here. Dark, malefic, feminine things that bring abundance in the 7th house of business deals, with your dad's sun sitting right there. Her dad is destructive to her. And potentially very bossy, and an open enemy, or a partner, or maybe both. Did they have a partnership? Was he also an open enemy? He seems very influential in her life with this aspect. And this aspect. A family business. So John's Mercury and JonBenet's JonBenet's Mercury in JonBenet's 8th house, and his south node conjunct her north node. His Mercury in his 8th house could indicate like an obsession, and if she had grown older, he would have been very over interested in her affairs and like things like that. 8th house is a taboo house as well. It's a sex house, it's a money dealing house, it's a family business house, and his Mercury is sitting there, so he's all up in her grill, all up in her affairs. So yeah, it is a bit of an obsessive placement. Yeah. And then there's also his south node. Oh my god, I didn't see this before. Her moon is on his vertex. There's another vertex conjunction. Oh my god, another calamitous event. This is so interesting that they both have planets, intimate planets on each other's vertexes, which is a cataclysmic event, or like just souls intertwining and combusting. Like, it's really crazy. His south node is here. Interesting. It's on the midheaven as well, which is a fame house, and her north node's on the midheaven, so her destiny was to be famous, her destiny was to be known. It's kind of iconic, and I know I hate saying that, but the creation of an icon, in order to be an icon, to become an icon, to become famous, like really famous, to become a symbol of something, and symbols are flat images, you have to be dehumanized. In order to be flattened out, to become an icon, you have to be dehumanized. And that's exactly what happened to this sweet little girl. But she's now a tragic icon. And I could argue that the north node with the moon on the midheaven is entering the family business. Is that what happened? Is that what happened, John? Was she part of the family business? Was there an accident at work? In the basement? With a colleague? Or a business partner? What the fuck went on? He led her there. His vertex. Oh, and Juno's the wife? Juno, like, what the fuck is this? Juno's also contract. It's the contract of the marriage. Like, what the fuck? It's gross. This is so gross. Hiding in a plain sight. John's Aries moon playing out in JonBenet's 12th house. He has an 8th house moon. So there's a lot of tragedy around family. Like I said before, he lost his daughter in a terrible car accident. I mean, there's theories about why she died, how she died. Like, I don't know how true they are. It could have just literally been an accident. But he sees a lot of tragedy in regards to his domestic world, his mother, like his wives, potentially his own mother. There's a lot of tragedy around women. The moon is not well aspected in the chart at all. I don't think, I'll have a look if it trines the sun, but yeah, it's a vicious moon, and I love my Aries moons. Don't get me wrong, I'm highly attracted to you because I'm an Aries sun. I like them. But in this case, he has an insatiable appetite for challenge and for adventure. And if this is in the 8th house, that's a sex house. Where's the challenge and where's the adventure? Where are you getting that? What is keeping his Aries moon on fire? What is he feeding it? What kind of wood and what kind of oxygen is being fed to the fire to keep it going? Like, this man is insatiable. And also it plays into his daughter's 12th house of enemies. They both have a planet. This is crazy. There's so much correspondence here with their placements. Like, her sun is in his 12th house. His moon is in her 12th house. They both have a planet on each other's vertexes. It's fucking crazy. They're both 4th house suns. But yeah, his moon, which is moon in the 8th house, not well aspected, all the secrets, all the lies, all the tragedy. He's a hyper masculine man as well, like very ambitious with all his fire placements. It's very brutal. It plays out in her 12th house of secret enemies, and yeah. She also has a Mars interception here, and I talked about it in the previous reading. Her Mars is in Taurus, and it's intercepted. So her Mars, her will, her sexual energy is locked away from her, but it's also exploited. like her sexuality, which is disgusting to say because she's a fucking child. I don't like talking about a child like this. But her sexuality was not for her. Mars in the 12th house people, their sexuality is for others, like a la Britney Spears, or even Mars in Pisces, Mars in the 12th house, Mars in Pisces, Marilyn Monroe, Britney Spears, right? Their sexuality doesn't belong to them. It belongs to the masses, or it belongs to other people, or it's used as a way to enslave them. So yeah, that is all there. Let's have a look at everything. I don't think I talked enough about this midheaven. So he was in some finance something. He worked with a lot of rich people, a big company. I don't exactly know what he did, but he dealt with money, right? Lots and lots and lots of money as a businessman. That tracks with a midheaven in Gemini. He probably had a few businesses. Uranus on the midheaven, he knows a lot of people. He's got a very large network. Now he's got Mars as well with that midheaven. He's willing to do whatever it fucking takes to make the money and to be successful and to be respected. Mars with Uranus can also, it's retrograde too. I was on the phone to my astrologer friend, Michelle. Hey, you're watching, right? Weird sex shit. I stand by it. Weird sex shit. If not, really nasty temper. Brutal at work. He could be a totalitarian boss. And his daughter's ascendant in Gemini sits here. So I could argue that her presence fueled this energy, or her presence was, she was a bargaining chip in some of the business deals that was done. Like that it could play out that way. If this was a normal father-daughter relationship and she had grown up and been prosperous, she probably would have worked, worked at dad's office, like, we're helping out the secretaries. Like it could be as innocent as that. But considering what happened to her, this is problematic. So, yeah. Oh my God, her Venus, Chiron, and Jupiter fall into his 11th house. Oh, she made him so popular, because when someone has placements in your 11th house, they're gonna make you popular. They're gonna bring more people around you. Is that what happened, John? Is that what happened, John? Because yeah, her Venus is in the 3rd with Jupiter, so she was known in the town. That's like the local beauty pageants, right? But this is playing out in his 11th house, which is another social house, which is even bigger. It's a wider network. So she makes him more popular and likable. She makes him more popular and likable. Yeah. Which is weird. Which is very weird. Think about it. And I know you guys commented in the previous video I did for JonBenét that Sloane Bella a few years ago said that John allegedly, we don't know, but she said that he was pimping her out. I didn't find that out until after I saw all of these charts and I did this analysis. Now obviously I've done this chart with that knowledge, but it does track. It makes sense. Now, at the moment, John, he's in his 80s and he's really pushing for this DNA. And I'm wondering why, because he could have done this 10 years ago. And my theory is that if allegedly, he is responsible, if he did a business deal that put his child in danger, like he sold her or whatever, he probably knows the person that did it. What if that person is dead now? Maybe he can get off the hook. Maybe he can lighten the load that's burdening him. We'll see. Because if they catch someone or they find someone and it turns out that they're no longer alive, or they're somehow connected to him, that tracks. Some weird ritualistic shit went on with this, for sure. I mean, even the like dressing her up like that, and putting her on show like she was like a little dessert on stage to be eaten whole. That's fucking ritualistic. That's fucking satanic. That was evil. And your wife did that, and you did that, and it's your fault. Anyway, John, go talk to God. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for you. And thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video. This was intense. I want to do a happy video next. So can you please make some suggestions about what I should cover in the next video, because I don't want to do like Menendez brothers, JonBenét stuff for a little while. Okay? All right, much love to you guys. See you soon. Bye.